Hello, New Orleans. You're listening to the Sports Coma, your new #1 podcast on everything Saints, Pelicans, and a lot more. And now, here's your host, Big Q and the guys.
What's up, sports world? How y'all doing tonight? We appreciate y'all for joining the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys, covering the Saints, the Pels, and a whole hell of a lot more. We're going to talk about a lot today dealing with the Saints and the training camp situation. You know, the black and gold up there in New England, they're scrimmaging against Tom Brady and the New England Patriots. Now, we've been scrimmaging against New England for the last maybe 3 years now. It's always turned out to be a good matchup when you put Sean Payton against Bill Belichick, man. I can't find two better offensive minds in the NFL than to match those two guys up against each other. So nothing but good can come out of that.
The two gates.
Yes. Today we got there's two of the fellas. DC's on the mic today. DC and Suede. Suede is back. How y'all fellas making out tonight?
Oh man, I'm making it, man. I'm hanging in there. I ain't making no noise.
All right.
Lovely, man. I can't complain about that.
That's good, man. Fellas, I hope y'all got y'all, well, of course, I know y'all got y'all Saints hats on tonight. We got a full slate of things to talk about dealing with the Saints camps. Even got a little Pelican news toward the end of the broadcast today. But before we jump off into that, you know, we got a new sponsor on the Sports Coma, the Posh Lifestyle, the new sponsor on the show, of course. #1 top provider for top-notch water filters. They offer shower wines, bath balls, the countertop faucet systems, the under-the-counter faucet systems, full bevy of products to help you get the fluoride, the chlorine, and all of the junk out of your water. It's very important nowadays for us to clean and filter our water. We need to take full control of that, and Posh Lifestyle does offer a wide selection of water filters. So that's one of the...
I need to call Posh Lifestyle for the Saints kicking game.
I don't know if they provide. I don't know. They got a lot of stuff on there, so they might have an answer for them. But outside of that, we got healing aids. We got such as the healing magnetics and healing crystals and jewelries, clothing, supplements, everything from full body cleanses to multivitamins, and they carry a great selection and a little bit of more and more of that. So they also offer, free shipping on orders on most of their products when it's over $100. When the cost of the items over $100, they offer free shipping on most items. So go and check them out at www.shoptheposhlifestyle. That's life with a Y, LYFE style.com. Shoptheposhlifestyle.com. And remember to love what you do. Also, we want to ask you, if you enjoy listening to this entertaining and informative podcast, you can feel free to be a part of it in terms of donation. You can donate to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys. You can go to our SoundCloud page, and look under to the right. If you're on your desktop, you can look to the right and you'll see the banner donate to the Sports Coma. Or if you use the music app, you can look where the show's listing is and you'll find it as well. Click the link, go there, and you can donate anything from $1 or more. Remember, we big time believers in the law of attraction. So please feel free to donate to our podcast to help build our platform as we move forward, trying to fill the world and convert all of the entire world, if we can, to Pelicans and Saints fans. What a lovely and beautiful world that would be. But okay, now let's talk a little sports. We finally got the business aspect out of the way. Let's talk some sports, fellas. In today's camp news, we have some nice stories. One in particular that really ringing out right now, Sheldon Rankins, man. Sheldon Rankins caught an interception off a screen pass from a New England quarterback. He didn't know who it was until he made the play, and one of his buddies just told him, "Hey, you just intercepted a full-time championship quarterback." He said it had to sink in. Sheldon Rankins, to me, man, is just been a busybody in camp, and him and a few other guys have really been turning heads. What do you guys take? We're gonna start with you there, DC, at first. Your impressions of some of these guys in camp so far. Who do you like? Who you don't like?
Well, I mean, who so far, looking at today, we're looking at the present. I cannot say I don't like Sheldon Rankins, man. That was amazing. Take off the screen, take it back to the house. It would have been a real game. So that guy definitely get, like in college, you get the sticker or the gold star to put on your helmet. He got a couple of them. And he got a fumble, too.
Yep.
So definitely like him. I've been hearing a lot of noise about your man, Devontae Harris, man. He's really opening a lot of eyes. And got a pick, I think, on Jimmy Garoppolo. He's done pretty good in coverage today. P.J. Williams also handling his business. That's a guy I always like from when we first drafted him. Really looking forward to seeing him play this year and do the damn thing, man. I think that's going to be our slot cornerback. And for the defensive line, I've been hearing a lot of noise about Tyler Davidson, ex-Usual. This guy's a regular, man. He's always battling. And everybody has nothing but good things to say about him. So that'd be the 4 people that I said I looked at today that was really impressive to me.
Yeah, you know it, DC, bro. You nailed it. Devontae Harris and Ken Crawley, man. I've been saying those guys since the first show. I've seen a lot of those guys, and even though I know they haven't played the first preseason game yet, I mean, I just see a lot in those guys. They ball hawks, undrafted guys that's taking every possible advantage of being on the NFL roster, and I do think that them Dixon boys better watch out because them guys are hungry, and I think they should crack this roster if they keep doing what they're doing. Sway, who are your favorites thus far in training camp?
Well, of course, my favorites are Von Bell and Michael Thomas. But
yes,
to talk about my man Rankins, with the pick he had on Tom Brady, he had no idea who he was. I love that. Like, I didn't know who he was. That's all like something I said.
I was just making a play. Yeah.
He made a comment. He was like, you know what? He had an interception, I think, against Boston College that he ran back. And then he had a fumble recovery that he ran back against Boston.
Yeah.
And then they have this in training camp. You know what I'm saying? He said, I just may have something against Boston. I don't know. But I love it. I love Rankins. I'm loving Michael Thomas. I love my offensive guys. Also like Laurinaitis, him setting up the defense and being the brain of that defense.
Yes.
And putting people where they need to be and not letting Tom Brady read the defense.
Right.
Before the snap. Yeah. So I love that.
Yeah, you know what? And it showed a lot, even though one of our next stories, probably going to get to a little further down, was how Brees outdued Brady today. How Zach Strief made the comment to the media that Drew Brees is having a fantastic camp, besides the last weekend, of course. But he's having a fantastic camp, and they say he looks as sharp as he's looked in a very long time. Saying that,
Contract year, baby.
Contract year.
You know what? Yeah, it is contract year. You know what else, Q?
Yes, sir.
I heard Stephen A. Smith sitting up there looking like Ludacris daddy, talking about the Saints defense is not going to be up to par this year, and they're going to be trash. He actually made that post, so I can't wait till the team gets on the field and shut up his mouth. You know what I'm saying? Get out the way.
Well, knowing Stephen A. Smith, that's a tall order for anybody to shut his mouth up. But yeah, he do look like Luke.
Always write checks his last cash, man.
Oh yeah, I can't
always does that.
But Sway, to your point, he does look like Ludacris's daddy, and he could be a darker version of Sherman Hemsley, if you ask me. But of course, that's the take. That's why the Sports Coma is so popular among Saints fans and people around the Gulf Coast area and many other areas of the world, is that we pay attention to this team. A lot of those guys that sit up at ESPN and other places, they don't pay attention. The guys that be on those shows, they don't follow the team. They're not lifelong fans or follow the team like an expert would. So they'll make those broad statements. I just let it go, just go past me. But we looking at this team, and I could tell you off top that, like I made the comment a couple of shows ago about the offense that the Saints fielded last year was probably the worst offense they ever gave Drew Brees. And when I say the worst offense, I'm saying in terms, you only had Brandon Cooks was the only he was really a guy. He didn't have that fantastic breakout year until after last year when he really established himself as being that he picking up the system. But they had Willie Snead, who didn't make any roster, was bouncing around. You didn't know what you was going to get from Willie Snead. They had Brandon Coleman, who was topsy-turvy, pretty much what he was last year. You had Benjamin Watson, and you know how I feel about Ben Watson. You know, he was a guy that if Ben Watson was starting for you, you know, you have problems. But
even then, sir, the Saints were like a top offense last year.
Yes, sir, they were. With all that. Yeah, with all that being said, that's exactly right. They were second ranked in yards last year. They were 8th in points scored, and they were number 2 in total offense. But that's what I'm saying. Looking at what they had last year and looking at what they have this year, with the additions of Mike Thomas, who is balling. I mean, he is it's amazing to me. And then his play is elevated somewhat. Brandon Coleman's play. Brandon Cooks looks awesome. Snead is still the maturation of Snead, Cooks, and he was killing him. Right, that's what I'm saying, and that's the great thing I'm saying. The maturation of Cooks, of Snead, of Coleman, the additions of Kobe Fleener. I have to say that the weapons that Drew Brees have with him this year has to be, you know, a lot of people like, man, this could be really a scary offense this year. What y'all guys take on that? Go ahead, DC.
It's just the defense that we always worried about, but I'm not even worried anymore. I'm not worried anymore with this defense and with Dennis Allen heading these guys. I think we're in a move. I mean, I'm trying to think of anybody in the NFC that can compete with us. You would go ahead and say Carolina, you know, but I think we have to push in the front, which is why where we can get to Cam Newton, disrupt him, and then the cornerbacks, which are very talented, these young guys and these veterans, can set up for get turnovers. So, you know, I'm not even worried about the defense this year. I think this is a very potent team. I'm looking to break the playoffs and go beyond to the NFC Championship.
DC,
that is amazing, man.
DC, what's your take, baby?
I concur that vision, but I also think that the offense is the key this year, because we did all that talking about that, him still being number 2, and we've improved. I think they made a drastic leap this year, and they could go all the way up to a number 1 offense and maybe give Pittsburgh run for their money. If our offense plays better, that means we're going to get more first downs. If we get more first downs, then our defense is going to be fresher. So if our defense is fresher, and they're already balling out of control how we stand right now, man, the sky is the limit. And NFC Championship may not be so crazy.
That's right.
Well, you know,
we beat the Giants with 45-42. You know what I'm saying? With a defense lagging like that, we still came on top against the Giants. So, you know, hey, let's go. Let's do it. Who that?
I like how you guys are talking. We looking at when you brought up Cam Newton's way, you talked about the Carolina Panthers, which the strength of the team on the offensive side of the ball is obviously Cam's Newton's ability to throw and run the ball. And I think last year the Saints, with the defensive personnel they had, played 2 very close games with Carolina down to the wire. They finished 15-1. And the Saints played them to a standstill in both those games. And, you know, they provide pressure. They just couldn't get them on the ground. I think last year's defense was a significant loss of athleticism. They just didn't have the athleticism that this current defense has. James Laurinaitis' ability to bring brains to the defense. You got Sheldon Rankins and Nick Fairley pushing up the center. Tyler David's maturation process continues. You got to look at the ends, which I think that Davis Toole, Kasim Edebali, go watch them. These dudes are hungry. This is a hungry upstart team. I really see that. This is not a veteran established team. This is like one of those teams that said y'all disrespecting us, y'all putting us at the bottom of the division. Herm Edwards old mentally ill butt told and we're going to win 4 games. And I mean, I just think that, you know, as a team of underdogs with their back against the wall, they always play better as opposed to contenders. But we're going to address some more issues. I'm going to get your take on what I just said when we get back on the other side of the break. Y'all listen to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys. We'll cover some more issues right after the break. Stay with us.
When winter is gone, so spring on over to We've Got It, your low-price, high-class leader. That's right, come in now and take advantage of our everyday bundle deals on any 3 bundles. 12 to 16 inches, $130. 18 to 22 inches, $155. And 24 to 30 inches, $185. We've Got It. 495 Voters Road in Slidell. 985-445-1400. That's 985-445-1400.
I'm the flyest in the world. I'm the flyest in the world. I'm the flyest in the world. Who you know that's better than me? Nobody.
Be the playmaker. Madden NFL 16. Game not yet rated.
Hey, I'm Paul, and I used to ask if you could hear me now with Verizon. Not anymore. I'm with Sprint now, because guess what? It's 2016 and every network is great. In fact, Sprint's reliability is now within 1% of Verizon. And Sprint saves you 50% on most Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile rates. So I switched to Sprint, and millions more have too. Can you hear that?
Don't let a 1% difference cost you twice as much. Switch to Sprint today.
What up, America? This Big Q from the Sports Coma, letting you know that you can follow us and the guys on Facebook, All Saints and Pelican fans, also on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube, the Sports Coma. You can also download our podcast at podbean.com. So check us out for all the intense and entertainment talk on the Saints, the Pels, and a hell of a lot more. Only at the Sports Coma, you heard me?
Get ready, New Orleans. It's time for the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys, telling you everything you need to know about the Saints, Pelicans, and a whole lot more.
I ain't gonna say it no more.
Oh yeah, you back with the Sports Coma. Big Q and the guys are still rapping Saints. Going into our second segment, we're gonna talk about what we just mentioned. We was talking about previously about the potential of the Saints offense and that young upstart defense. What's your take on that? We're gonna start with you, DC. About that upstart playmaking hungry defense the Saints have. It's been a while since I've seen such a defense that the Saints ever played. We might have to find a nickname. We might have to encourage our fan base to find a name to name this Saints defense. I mean, the Dome Patrol, I mean, they were so bad they had to have their own name. I know I'm kind of jumping ahead a bit, but this defense might be good enough to get a nickname, guys. What y'all think about that? Go ahead, DC.
Well, I like that, man. And the thing that's popping up in my head right now, I'm thinking grind time, because these guys just come to play. Like everybody's playing like they hungry and they want a spot on the team, man. And they're playing every day like it's their last. So for me, I'd say grind time, man. I'm really impressed. I ain't never seen Drew Brees throw 4 picks. What, in a day or something? Threw like 4 picks.
Right.
Threw 7, like in a total of 2 days, and then he goes to New England, plays that defense, and torches them.
Right.
So what does that say about our defense?
He getting good practice.
So I mean, it is just practice. We got to see him take it to the field and go to the preseason, but man, I think the expectations should be high for good reasons, man. Grind time.
What you say about that swing?
Well, you know what? My idea for a nickname, I'll probably be Mrs. Smith. You know what I'm saying? Mrs. Smith. Why? Because they're going to create turnovers. Yeah, they're like apple turnovers. Apple turnovers. Okay, that was But look here, man. I'm with you, man, I'm so excited. Like I told you on the earlier broadcast, I'm so excited about this defense. And like you said, he's getting really excited. He wants to start creating nicknames for the line, for for the backfield, you know, and for the linebackers, man, you know, it's going to be something exciting, really exciting, especially when you're going against this Patriots team and you're doing what you're doing, Tom. Hey, it's going to be something serious.
I like how you guys. I like both those names, man. I think that they'll.
You didn't like Mrs. Smith.
I think I was trying. Well, I think. Well, I'm saying I like the funny the comedic aspect of what you were saying. That's true. But also, you know, the grind time, I think that's probably a defense because, you know, that this defense out to make a name for themselves. It's been a while since we had a defense that can actually just had this much that we could actually be excited for. I mean, last year, you got to look at it. Champ Bailey the year before that, how disgusting that was in the training camp. Then we get Brandon Browner with no safeties to cover him. Jarvis Bird's ineffective play for much of the year. Although Vinny Vaccaro did rebound after that disastrous sophomore season. I just feel that, you know, it's a reason to be excited along with these two draft classes and the undrafted guys that we bringing in here. Another guy we ain't talking much about is Trey Austin. He had a pretty decent career out of Mississippi, but he's a safety back there. He buried in the depth chart. He had pretty good, a pretty decent college career. I was expecting big things out of him. Made a few plays, but he need to make more to probably make this roster devoid of being the first round of cuts. Looking ahead, going to our next subject, Cooks versus Malcolm Butler was something that besides the Tom Brady and Drew Brees matchup. What do you take on those two guys? I know Malcolm Butler's a pretty good cornerback. And you look at what Brandon Cooks, he just looks like he's coming to his own to me. I mean, he finally looked like he's the deep ball guy. He has all that speed and that elusiveness, man. I'm just happy to see that. He looked like he finally putting it together. Go ahead, DC. What's your take on that comment?
I think it's wonderful, man. Brandon Cooks is a guy coming out of Oregon. I watched him. I remember seeing him a little in college, and he can do a lot of stuff. When we first got him as a rookie, I think he's so fast, bro. He was pressing so hard. He just looked kind of stiff. I think he's finally loosening up, getting a little more wisdom and experience and getting comfortable, man. He'd be a lot more loose, more patient. He's fast, so you know he's going to get open. He can catch it, so he's going to catch it. But what happens when he starts to catch it and he's loose and he's breaking them tackles or making guys miss, taking it to the house? I think that's what we're about to start seeing. This guy idolizes Antonio Brown and Steve Smith, two great receivers. That's what he wants to be like. He wants to be great, and I think he's going to take a step forward and becoming that this year. Antonio
Brown and Steve Smith, man, you couldn't find two bigger mentors or bigger guys to shape your game after, especially Steve Smith, man. I mean, if you look at it, Steve Smith probably got to be one of the greatest, if not the greatest, small wide receiver that the game has ever seen. I mean, he has the biggest heart. When we played against Carolina all those years, I mean, Steve Smith, he just would push at the big guys. He had the heart. He just was a guy that was real. He had the big old heart and the will, and he just made it happen. He just played with a chip on his shoulder every time he got on the playing field. Hey, Sway, what's your comments on that of Cooks? What DC said about Cooks against Malcolm Butler in the camp?
Well, you know, with this being this should be Cook's year. You know, you kind of looked at Cooks, and even though he exploded, he was a real elusive guy in college, and coming to the NFL, he had to deal with some injuries. But as those injuries got solved, he still stayed on track and became one of the top-notch receivers. Even though in his size, and like you said, DC, I compare. He looks up to Steve Smith, and that's who he reminds me of, a short guy with heart. And you think he doesn't equal the average size of a receiver, but his heart and his skill set leads him to be one of the best this year on the team. Of course, I think. With Malcolm Butler, you're looking at a nice cornerback. So for him to do some damage against Malcolm, you know, and that'll definitely say something, man. And Brandon Cooks is a competitor, so he's very up for the challenge, and I'm looking forward to seeing this on TV live. You know what I'm saying? So he can make toast out of Butler ASAP.
Yeah, the 2015 season for Brandon Cooks, he had 84 catches for 1,138 yards, and he had 9 touchdowns. So that was pretty interesting season for him, man. He actually had that breakout year. Yes, he really came alive for him, and I'm thinking big things for him. Is like the light went on. With most of those really good wide receivers, the light came on for him. Outside of that, go ahead, DC. You want to add to that?
I was talking about the man's speed. The speed is undeniable. You remember last year, man, he just like totally got a break and a separation from plenty, if not all, quarterback. And he knows how to read defenses. Man, this guy Brandon Cooks, with his maturation, is going to be awesome. That's all.
Right, he's a terrific talent, man. I just think that I'm glad to see the light go on. And I think what really was going to help out Brandon Cooks is the addition of Mike Thomas, who I got to say, opposite of him, I would have to give it to Mike Thomas because he's the perfect complement to Brandon Cooks. Brandon Cooks is the slasher guy. Mike Thomas is the big possession guy that goes up and attacks the ball. Plus, he got a deceptive speed, too. He's a tough guy to bring down. And if you know, most of the really good wide receivers in the league yak yards or yards after the catch. That is one of the biggest statistics that wide receivers can have. And in terms of what he did in college, he's a big, tough, physical wide receiver that's tough to bring down, that Mike Thomas I'm speaking of.
Right, and you got to think, Willie Snead, the Saints always have a nice under guy. You always had Jerome Payton.
Yes. Lance Moore. Right.
You know what I'm saying? And now you have Willie Snead. You're going to have to keep an eye on Snead.
Yes.
You're definitely going to have to keep an eye on Michael Thomas.
Yes.
You're going to leave Brandon Cooks wide open.
Yeah. Go ahead, DC.
Michael Thomas wide open.
No.
And then you forgetting about Kobe Fleener.
Yes.
We still got that guy, man. Our offense is a tight end heavy offense. So I really think he's going to step up to the plate and do some things, too. And they got a lot of guys on the other end pushing for a spot, man. I see Tommy Lee coming out there and giving us another little gadget, maybe a presence like we had with Joe Morgan when he made all them waves during the preseason. So, man, they gonna be explosive, bro.
Joe Morgan, wow.
Ball and move it. I ain't talking about when he on the back end. I'm talking about on the front end.
yeah, Joe Morgan. I forgot about Joe, man. What is Joe doing? Where is Joe Morgan?
He's inactive. He on the street. But yeah, but that's the thing. I agree with you. I think the addition of all those guys, man, the perfect complement to Brandon Cooks, Mike Thomas, the big rookie out of Ohio State. Then you add Snead, which allows Willie Snead to slide down to the slot position where he belongs, where he's more effective. Then you add Kobe Fleener to the tight end, top to the tight end position. Oh man, you just have so many weapons that you can use. Not to mention C.J. Spiller, who's going to be a situational running back, who some believe is a better pass catching running back than he is an actual running back. So last year, Sean Payton put him on the injured list toward the end of the season because he said it just didn't seem like he had he seen the speed, but he just looked like he couldn't put it together. Later, it was admitted by C.J. Spiller that he just wasn't totally healthy, that he couldn't make the cuts that's a part of his game along with the speed. And he's finally healthy, so that could be another addition to the passing game as well. So, I mean, I'm just excited about all that young talent, man. I know for a fact that they're going to top. You know, I'm not going out on a limb. I don't think that's much of a limb to say that the Saints, based on what they had last year, they can't have the better production with the better personnel that they have barring injury. I think this team can really do some special things, man. And of course, like you said, we had the caveat of Drew Brees being in his contract year. That's that can mean that he would kind of be more focused on what he's doing to earn that contract. But you know what, guys? I want to ask you on the other side to break about that Drew Brees situation. Swade sent me an article, video yesterday about potentially other teams, Drew Brees not signing with the Saints and other teams taking him. I know it's kind of early in the game, but I'm pretty intrigued about that. I'm going to talk to you, ask you guys about that on the other side of the break, see what y'all take is. You rapping with the Sports Coma, Big Q and the guys. We talking Saints. We'll be back to cover all the rest of the issues and more. Stay with us.
I'm not retiring.
I'll still break that old man's ankles.
I'm still gonna knock down turnaround jumpers all day.
That ain't changing.
Man, I drop threes on them all night long.
All night.
All night.
I'll drain threes on you all night.
Man, I dropped 82 on you.
I've been Kobe for like 14 years.
I've been him for 16 years.
I won like 15 championships.
I've been Kobe for as long as I can remember.
Dude, you're 8.
Nah, man, I'm not retiring.
I hate Kobe Bryant.
I love that Mamba face.
I hate that Mamba face. I'll dunk on fools.
I'll still hate Kobe Bryant.
I'm still gonna hate him.
He's not done.
This doesn't change a thing.
I am Kobe.
I am Kobe.
I am Kobe Bryant.
I'll still be Kobe Bryant.
Product not yet rated.
The 6, Raptors, Diamond, Key, New Ride, Old Ride, Bad Times, Good Times, Young Money, New Money, OVO, 29, 29, 29, Best I Ever Had, Worst Behavior, Old Crib, New Crib, October, Sound, Festival, Album Time Again, or Acting Time Again, My Friend, My Friends, Younger Me, Older Me, Me as Manny, Me as Jimmy, Me as Drake.
What up, America? This Big Q from the Sports Coma, letting you know that you can follow us and the guys on Facebook, All Saints and Pelican fans, also on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube, the Sports Coma. You can also download our podcast at podbean.com. So check us out for all the intense and entertainment talk on the Saints, the Pels, and a hell of a lot more, only at the Sports Coma, you heard me? Back with the Coma, the Sports Coma, Big Q and the guys, going into our third segment. We have a hypothetical from the previous break. I know it's kind of premature in the season, but I really wanted to get the guys' take on what they think about article, a video that Swade sent me last night. He brought it to my attention about potentially the Saints not extending out Drew Brees. I mean, it just was a thought on my mind. I know some people think about it. I know I do. So I'm gonna get the guys' takes. Starting with you, Swade. What's your take, man, on that? I seen an article you sent me that they were referencing saying the Denver Broncos should go after Drew Brees. But is this what do you think? Do you think that this is actually something that Saints fans, the Who Dat Nation, could be concerned about? Because me personally, I think that Drew Brees should die a Saint. You know, he should retire as a Saint, and that this would be the last helmet he put on for the rest of his life is a New Orleans Saints helmet. He's certainly done enough. He done wrecked the record books for down here. He's a first ballot a Saints Hall of Famer, no doubt about it. He going in the Hall of Fame as a Saint, not a Charger. So what's your take on that?
Well, when you look at it, you know, it's all onto the Saints organization, and because. And every Saints fan wants Drew Brees to die with a career-wise for the Saints. But you have to look at it when a player becomes older. It doesn't matter what he did and what have he done for me lately. And he's done a lot, and our eyes and the numbers tell it. But you can look at the same situation with Joe Montana. Joe Montana brought those guys to multiple Super Bowls. He was an awesome player, probably going down as one of the best quarterbacks in history, but still, he was let go to go to the Chiefs. Okay, so it kind of bothers me because you don't know what's in the mind of these general managers, and you don't know how they're going to look at it. So it bothers me in a sense, but I do feel in my heart of hearts that they're going to give him the extension, and they won't let him, because once he gets on the free agent market, the numbers are going to go for Drew. And if different wants him, they're definitely going to be a top contender because they need him. They don't mind getting the aged quarterback. Look at Peyton Manning. Elway is going to go out to get him. So, yes, we should be slightly concerned, but let's pray for the best.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think nowhere in the world the Saints turn him over. If they let him walk, Mickey Loomis need to pack his bags and follow him because I mean you're not a contender without him. Last year he threw for 4,870 yards, 32 touchdowns against 11 interceptions. Had a QB rating of 75.5. That's the best in what he had the previous 4 years. I mean, he's just awesome, man. Completed 68% of his passes. 68. You complete. You could.
Not only Joe Montana, you got to look at Brett Favre. You got to look at these top-notch quarterbacks, man. They let go once they got names.
Well,
so you can look, maybe because they had a backup prepared and
right.
ready to go.
That's what I'm about to say.
That's what I was
Go ahead, DC.
My next point for the comment on what you said, because you made a lot of good points, brother. San Francisco had Steve Young. We ain't got no damn Steve Young.
Yeah, you do. You got Garrett Grayson.
I don't think Drew Brees going nowhere. I think all this is got to do with money, man. They trying to beat him down for the best price they can get him. But when you look at Joe Flacco making what? He had a $120 million contract, the same as Drew Brees. I mean, you really think Joe Flacco worth $120 million? I don't think so, bro. No, and you got the guy Andy Dalton just signed a big contract. I don't think he's better than Drew Brees. So he's going to have to eventually break down and decide to pay him. Now, they just trying to find a number that I guess is comfortable with Brees and them, man. Brees ain't going nowhere, bro. If he leaves, it's going to be rioting in the streets out here, man. That guy got the key to the city.
Yep.
You're right, DC. Let me ask you this, though, DC. I'd like to get your opinion on this. Do you think that Drew Brees should take a pay cut? Because he is a competitor, and he's also, I know he wants a championship team. So in order to get the other championship, do you think he should be favorable of taking a pay cut?
I don't necessarily buy into the pay cut bullshit like what everybody runs. Now, I would say it matches when it's in this type of format. If everybody on the team is doing it, like we've seen Sean Payton give back $1 million, like when it's a full team out, and everybody doing it, then yeah, I think he should. But if you got other people getting their money and getting their financial situation together, why not give it your work? I don't see nothing wrong with that. I mean, dude is money well spent. They can't be that mad. They spending $30 million on him this year. So I mean,
you got a point.
He's going anywhere, bro. I think all this is just stuff that they trying to work out, and he'll probably sign a deal soon as free agency starts back with the Saints if they let it go that long. But the numbers will be astronomical from other teams.
Well, I think I got to agree with both points from both of you guys. Y'all make both really valid points. That's good comments. I think Drew Brees is like I said. I made the comment as well. He got the key to the city. Ain't nothing more for him to prove. I think he's going to have a fantastic year this year. And I just think that Drew Brees, man, overall is this team is not a contending team. They're not a Super Bowl team without Drew. You had the factors of, I know he's getting up in age, but the longevity aspect, the guy missed one game in how many years? I mean, he's terrific. So my take on it is pay Drew Brees his money. Now, as far as what you were saying, Swade, about the hometown pay cut, that depends to me. Whether or not the team is going through some stringent cap situation where they want to sign you, but they just don't have the cap revenue, but that shouldn't hurt Mickey Loomis. His claim to fame is to backload the deals, and then if it don't work out, trade you on the back end to make the contracts fit. So I mean, that's something that Mickey Loomis really became popular for. So I think Drew Brees. You look at him versus Tom Brady. How Tom Brady actually took a pay cut to help the Patriots add more talent. It's really to the matter of the player. Drew wants his money. I don't think he never took a pay cut. I know he'll let you slide his money back into his contract, but he never believes in taking a pay cut. And he knows his value. He knows his worth. And I can respect him for that because he like I said, he carries the Saints. Without Drew Brees, this team is not a Super Bowl contending team. They do not have Super Bowl aspirations. That's how important he is to the entire Saints situation. Yes, very important. So let's go. Let's talk about a few other things that happen in outside of camp. We got a few things, camp notables, just to mention to the fan base. Cam Jordan missed camp today because of the birth of his baby daughter. I'd like to say congratulations to Cam Jordan, man. He got his baby girl. So that's a good reason to lose the miss camp, man. He got a little baby girl. Congratulations to you, Cam, and the fam, man. Congratulations on that. Devin Breaux returned back to practice. Good to see Devin back at practice. He missed the last few practices. He came back to practice. And another big dude, the Teron Armstead, the big left tackle, who was inactive most of the training camp. He was on the PUP list. He was activated off the PUP list. He's fully healthy, but he did not participate, so maybe he'll get some snaps in there sooner or later. Who knows? I think he'll probably get a little chance to knock a few snaps to knock the rust off. Jarius Byrd practiced fully today, and I'm going to let y'all guys comment on that. Jarius Byrd for the first where he practiced early in camp, but this is actually the third year here. This is the first camp that he was there at day one. The previous camps he was on the injured list, but he actually practiced fully today. Didn't see too many big things. Did he make any difference or nothing? But he did participate fully. So let me ask you guys, what y'all take on those issues I just brought up? What's your take on those? Do y'all have any takes on that? Teron Armstead, Jarius Byrd. I think Jarius Byrd need to get his mind right and get in the game plan, because he got somebody on his tail. Von Bell is making it real serious. What's y'all take on that?
I think Jarius Byrd think he's sitting on the iron right now. That boy don't even think that's a seat. It's like you got on.
That seat hot, man.
A lot of these young players, brother, they hungry and they ready, man. And you making how much?
Yep.
And they doing what? Making how much?
Yes.
Get out there and start balling. You know what I'm saying? Teron Armstead, I think it's gonna be real good to see him back, and that's gonna be a nice challenge for that defensive line. We can see him cutting up. Now we need to see how they're gonna be out there with Armstead out there. See if they can keep that same momentum going and really give them a run for their money, and also see how our offensive line balances out, because I think that right now, from what I've been seeing in camp, I think that's probably the worst spot on our team. The offensive line, man, is kind of in a disarray and a mess. So to get the field general out there, the best guy we got on the line, that's gonna be good.
Right. I definitely Bird. I hope Jarius Byrd is the word. Yes. You know what I'm saying? I hope he get it in, man. All the money we're paying him, like you said, this is his first time at camp. He should be hungry. He should see these young boys coming up. I know he's giving them the information. He's training these boys, but we need to see you, Jarius. We need to see you on the field. We need to see you making a difference on that. Along with my man Olmstead. Olmstead is nice to see him healthy. You know, you got to protect some money. You got to protect Drew. Yeah, he got to protect Drew. And like you said, I know you said DC, this is one of the weakest spots or the weakest things on the Saints team, the offensive line. I agree, but at the same time, that's equal is the special teams.
Yeah.
Q knows I would definitely slam the special teams all day long, except Marcus Murphy. I'm sorry,
Tommy Lee.
But I'm so hating on the kicking game. You know what I'm saying? I told Q I got a couple of my people from Popeyes to go try out. You know what I'm saying, to see what they could do. You know, and it's possible, they could make the team.
Well, your dislike for Travaris Cadet and the special teams and the kickers is well documented. Let me just say that. I have a different take. I think Sean Payton hits on a lot of things. The kicking game is not one of them. I think he missed it all last year, but he got Kai Forbath and Connor Barth. I really like Connor Barth. I think he'll be a solid kicker for us. But it is right now, as far as what I'm seeing, Kai Forbath has that slight edge in that kicking battle. But we're going to talk some more. You stink. So I'm going to have you to come up with a one for Connor Barth. Could you come up with one for Connor Barth? Yeah, I guess so. But I tell you what, we're going to cover some more issues on the other side of the break. We're going to talk about the inactives with the Patriots. We're going to talk about the Brees and Brady battle. Our young up-and-coming cornerback shine. Mike Thomas as maturation, among others. P.J. Williams, Ken Crawl, and Devontae Harris. We'll give them some more looks and some more news on the other side. We'll be back on the Sports Coma. Big Q and the guys.
Hey, this Sway. I'm about to tune you in. I'll cue you into your one-stop online shop for all your health essentials. Your vitamins, your water filters, healing magnetics, hygiene products, healing crystals, and jewelry. For all this and more, just log into theposhlifestyle.com. Once again, that is theposhlifestyle.com.
There's no one road out there. No one surface. No one speed. No one way of driving on each and every road. But there is one car that can conquer them all. The Mercedes-Benz C-Class. 5 driving modes let you customize the steering, shift points, and suspension to fit the mood you're in and the road you're on. The 2016 C-Class, starting at $38,950.
Is it true Ciroc vodka makes the best flavors in the world? Take one sip of the lush wildness of Ciroc Red Berry. One taste of the intense ripeness of Ciroc Peach. Even one drop of the explosive freshness of Ciroc Coconut. And the truth will come to your lips. Ciroc Ultra Premium flavors. One sip is all it takes to taste true perfection. Available in Red Berry, Coconut, and Peach. Ciroc, nothing tastes better than the truth.
The Bud Light Party believes in change. That's why Bud Light has a new look. And we want to share it with everyone. From our national parks to our furthest shores, jackpot, to your living room. Look under your seats! Still the same refreshing Bud Light with a new look.
All right, we back with the Sports Coma, going into our final segment. Talking Drew Brees against Tom Brady. Man, what a hell of a battle, man. Regular season, I'd love to see that. I'll pay for that. So far, all we got from him is the camp. You know, Brady gonna be out for the first 4 games of the season with that suspension. Garoppolo's gonna take over the job. But Brees got the better of Brady this time around. Our young corners are shining. Mike Thomas, like we said, we covered Mike Thomas. He's spectacular. Sheldon Rankins played well. And those young cornerbacks, I can't give enough shine to Crawley and Harris. But I got to talk P.J. Williams, man. I got to talk P.J. Williams. I think P.J. Williams is such a special talent, man. He was a guy that they had drafted last year with the 3rd round draft pick. 6'1", about 200 pounds. He got good speed, physical receiver, can play different sets. Devin Bro says that yesterday that this guy is going to shock the world. And we got a couple of young guys on that team is going to shock the world. But mentioning that, give me y'all take. I'm going to start with you, DC, on what you think about the Brees and Brady duel. Our young cornerbacks, Sheldon Rankins, take your pick, man. We got a veritable buffet of Saints news to delve into, so take your pick, brother.
Well, I'm going to start off with the Brady and Brees battle. You know, I think Drew Brees always shows up to play for Tom Brady, man. Because when you think about it, Tom Brady does have 4 championships, bro.
Yes.
And, he gets a lot of credit, a lot of props around the league. But Drew Brees is really not that far behind him. He don't have the range, but we know that's a team thing also. But when you look at the stats and the numbers and the quarterback play, he's right up there with him, man. And he never gets any credit as far as that with Brady. So I think he always shows up to play for that guy, and he wants to show everybody that he's just as great. A lot of these other guys, the cornerbacks, man, I don't think we've had it. When is the last time we had a secondary this good, man?
It's been a while.
I cannot remember, bro. I mean, I remember Fred Thomas getting burnt with the cast on his hand and shit.
Oh man, Fred Thomas.
Yeah, man, I'm taking it back, bro. We haven't had a secondary. I think that's going to be as good as the one we're going to have this year, man. I'm going to say that right now. We got a lot of young guys that can play, man. And then we still forgetting that we got Damian Swan on the back end, another guy that I think played really well when he was put out there last year, man. Injuries kind of set it back, so we still got him on the back burner. So you talking about all the way out 5 cornerbacks that can be really nice.
That's good. That's a good call. We have not talked much about Damian Swan. He hadn't done too much in camp, but we know what Damian Swan can bring to the table. If what he did last year, attacking the ball, big cornerback, pretty decent speed, but real hands-on, physical, competitive guy. Could love what he brought to the secondary last year. Unfortunate about the concussions. Very unfortunate about that. But hopefully he can stay healthy this year and we can really see this guy take off. We can really see him. Hey, Sway, what's your comments on those topics? What do you have?
Well, I'm gonna love the Drew versus Brady. Of course, I call it the gate game. You have Bounty Gate, you have Fly Gate, you have the State Gate, all in the same game. But Brees happens to always show up, Brady, in the numbers. It may not be a win, but it always shows in the numbers. Brady, I got to take my hat off to him. He has responded in a lot of NFL games with no-name players. So he is a good quarterback, but Brees is undersized, and he had no-name players as well. Like you said, the rings may matter to some, but not to me. I always look at the numbers. But our secondary, my God, I can't say too much about those. I can't say enough about those guys. They're awesome. And you look at it with the addition of Roman Harper. I look at that as having that experience in the locker room, because I always feel that the locker room presence of those veteran guys, especially one that was on the same team to win a championship, is very, very lucrative, man. You need those guys in the locker room.
Well, to your point about the Drew Brees and Sean Payton. Tom Brady. It's amazing. I'm looking at the statistics here, and to me, it's just amazing. Being how good Tom Brady's been for so how long he's been as good as he's been. He's thrown for 58,028 yards, 428 touchdowns, and he threw for let's see here. He had 63.6 career completion percentage. That's Tom Brady. Drew Brees, 60,000 yards, 60,903 yards, over 2,000 more yards, same amount of touchdowns, 428 touchdowns, but a 66.4 career passing rating, which is a percentage point better than what Tom Brady brought to the spectrum. So it's just amazing, man. These are two fantastic, excellent passing quarterbacks. Man, it's just amazing to me. Those two guys are playing. I think to your part too, DC, to talk about what you was talking about earlier about the situation dealing with having to ever see cornerbacks as good as the ones that we have, and I must say, I don't think the Saints have ever been this loaded at cornerback. If you go down the roster, remember, we just talking about the young guys. We talking about Devin Broad. We talking about P.J. Williams. We're talking about Damian Swan. We're talking about the young undrafted guys like Deontay Davis, Harris, and Ken Crawley. We haven't even talked about Keenan Lewis. So, I mean, he's the veteran, and some say probably Brogue has more upside, but he's the leader in terms of the secondary. Hopefully, that we can get Keenan Lewis back, the same Keenan Lewis we had of maybe 3 years ago, who was on the verge of making a Pro Bowl, who was the attitude guy pointing around, the shutdown cornerback. It'll be a tremendous – I think that'll be two of the best cornerbacks the Saints have ever put on the field at the same time. Established Keenan Lewis is healthy, and Devin Bro's terrific upside, and whoever you got at the nickel. Absolutely awesome. What's y'all take on that?
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head, man. We talked about all these young guys, man. They mentioned Keenan Lewis, man. Before Keenan Lewis got here, did we even have a cornerback after?
Yeah, man. Hold on, you forgot, man. We had Jason David, man.
That
yeah.
guy got played by one of my partners. The chick ain't even want to highlight it, man. Jason David, man.
Come on, let's not let.
Bruce Graham was a really good cornerback, man, but he never had a running mate, man. And then Keenan Lewis showed up, and you seen the Saints just take off, bro. We had a strong resurgence coming in. We made the playoffs and everything that year after a couple of down years, I think, from Bountygate. And, we haven't had a tandem pretty much the whole time we had this franchise, man. That was our first glimpse of having two good guys on the outside. And Jabari Greer kind of banged himself up. The guy got hurt. And, Keenan Lewis was looking for that running mate, man. Devin Bro came in out of nowhere, and he got hurt. And he had to step up to the plate, and that guy stepped in as a number one cornerback, man. And then Keenan Lewis is coming back. So if we could get him back in the same capacity that he was when we made the playoffs and stole that game from Philly that year, then I think we're in store for something real special with all these young guys on the back end. And I mean, we're gonna have enough cornerbacks to cover 4 and 5 receiving sets, man.
Yeah, that's important. Right.
And convert that pressure into turnovers, man. We're looking at a special season.
Right, I agree with you. I think that they have the personnel that Sean Payton and Dennis Allen wants to run on the defense, wants to use more of the 3 safety looks, and they have the 3 safeties to pull it off. They have depth at the safety position. We even forget old Roman Harper's actually having a pretty decent camp. The old sturdy veteran, he's actually having a pretty decent camp, batting balls down and making plays. I mean, he seems rejuvenated after coming back from Carolina. Let's switch gears. Let's go. We talk about the best quarterbacks in the NFC South. I know we somewhat biased, but let's try not to be. Looking at the NFC picture, I've seen a few articles saying that Drew Brees shouldn't be considered. This is coming from one of the guys at ESPN saying that he shouldn't be considered as one of the top quarterbacks in the NFC South. Probably they still like. Maybe they think. Well, I mean, they're thinking Jameis Winston. They thinking. Well, you thinking Jameis. They thinking Cam Newton and Jameis Winston is going to be the studs that's going to take over the NFC South. What's y'all take on that? Give me a quick take on that. Then we'll get a little Pelican news in there. Give me a quick take on who your top 4 NFC quarterbacks are. We're gonna start with you, DC.
Well, I can put it like this. I mean, if you want to go, there's 2 ways you can look at this. If you're looking at all time, man, and put your career, how can Drew Brees not be number 1, bro? He's still breaking records to this day. But if you want to go season by season base, I can understand some people putting Cam Newton as number 1 over Drew Brees. But who the hell is number 2? Like, I mean, where you gonna put Matt Ryan up there? Come on, Jameis Winston. This guy is just coming off a pretty decent season as a rookie, but he hasn't shown anything other than a nice temperament, praying hard for the game, strong arm, but he still has a lot to be completed, man. You're talking about a complete quarterback. I think Drew Brees is the best quarterback. Timing, anticipation. He's short. He has to do a lot of stuff to overcome his deficiencies physically, which we know Jameis Winston and Cam Newton are freaks in that area. So, I mean, this guy really has a brain for the game and probably could damn near be a quarterback coach or maybe even a coach when he retires. And you're going to say that he should be considered. And in the NFC, I was like, wow, this guy, man, who is he smoking?
Yeah, who says that? Stephen A. Smith, Deion Sanders? Who says that? How can you not consider Drew Brees as being, if not number 2, the best quarterback in the NFC South?
That's up to Tom Brady.
Well, let me ask y'all this before we go. We're kind of running out of time. Pelicans in Pelicans news, Tyreek Evans rumors surfaced again with a possible deal that can involve a 3-way deal between the Bucks, the Kings, and the Pels. That would basically send Tyreek Evans to the New Jersey Nets give the Pels Greg Monroe from the Bucks, and send Quincy Pondexter to the Milwaukee Bucks. What do you guys take on that potential trade? Would that work out? If we end up getting Greg Monroe, we're gonna have a little overtime. But what's your take on that? We're gonna hit that, and then we're gonna peel out.
Well, I can make this easy for you. I don't care. All right, I can tell you like that. Until the whole team and the general manager show me something, I don't even care. I have to see how they start on this court.
All right, DC, go ahead, buddy.
Morgan, bro. I think that'd be a good trade, man. I'm looking at upgrading over Amir Ashi. this guy, man, stands in the paint, don't do nothing. So Greg Monroe, I think, would be a definite upgrade over there. He can't do anything but help our team. With the combination of Buddy Hield and AD being healthy, you got a lot of points coming from that direction. Greg Monroe can be a real offensive rebound type guy, get a lot of the defensive rebounds, take some of the pressure off AD in that capacity, and also he's a big body, man. They say he's not the best defender, but I think he's pretty decent.